think of it as an ellipses, as you said, And I think one of the ways that if we kind of back up a bit, when people ask, well, what are the nodes? What do they mean? Why do they matter to me? So if the way I like to think about the nodes and explain them is imagine you have a cup. This is the south node is your full cup. You come into this lifetime or collectively, we have a lot of knowledge in this area, in the south node. If we put too much into it, the cup overfills and we can't hold it all. So at some point, it's like bringing a suitcase and it's overstuffed. The north node is the cup upside down. And so we're reaching for that. We're reaching towards that energy. We want to let go of some things in the south node to make room to fill that cup in the north node. And so I always think it's like what we are aspiring to. Here we're grounded in, we have this knowledge, we have this way of being or doing or having. And yet now we're being asked, collectively and personally, we each have a personal, as you said, nodal placements in our chart, but every 18 point, what is it, 4, 5, 6 years, we're asked collectively to let go of some things and move towards something different.
Yes. Oh my goodness. As somebody who has a very heavy south node, I mean, our south, like, we all, right? Our personal south nodes are like that kind of karmic energy of like our soul's past. You've done the thing over and over again. That's why your cup is so full. And that's why we're meant to stretch into that opposite sign. And when we have this on a collective level, we have a good year and a half or so to really kind of shift the tides and like make ways for new ways. And now that we're moving into this north node, moving into Aquarius, the south node into Leo, we haven't seen this since, December of 2007 through August of 2009. And I mean, gosh, 2007, I remember when the iPhone was invented, my life changed. I was no longer tethered to my office. I could do work from anywhere.
Yes, yeah. Big shifts collectively. Aquarius energy, we're looking at groups, communities, like you said, decentralization, technology. How I talk about Aquarius as the I within the we. And definitely, technology forward, astrology comes under the umbrella of Aquarius. So excited to see how that expands over this time period. But yeah, and if we think back to 07, 08, I think of it, and remember because I had a physical brick and mortar business back then, fortunate or unfortunately, a restaurant. And, that was a very rough economic period for us. And Aquarius tends to, as well, from a cyclical perspective, and I know we'll get into this, but it is the bottom of the financial market, so to speak. And we saw, all the craziness with bank loans defaulting and the government having to come in and pick things up and reshifting. And so I was saying to you earlier, like I literally one night was like, I just need to track this. In the middle of the night, I'm looking up all the financial breakdowns and what timing, and the majority of them have occurred in a big way. And not to scare anybody, but it's just a data point to look at, and it's something to just be aware of. And what do we need to grow into next? What isn't working for the collective? What isn't working for the individual that maybe was put upon us that needs to come apart so that something better can be built? That's the purpose of this cycle.
Yeah. Before we do that deep dive into like the financial, like, and the historical events of events of Aquarius North nodes, I want to go back to what you said of Aquarius is the I within the we. And as an Aquarian, I absolutely love that, because when I'm thinking about especially Aquarian leadership that we'll do a deep dive in a little bit later, I do think of like the necessity of our individual contribution to the whole.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. And so like Aquarius has to be 100% authentically themselves, unique, whether you think you're the black sheep or whatnot, but it's so that you can contribute your greatest gifts to the whole. And so, we are coming up across like the age of the change maker. And so, the other Aquarian themes that I want us to remember that we're moving into, because this Aquarius is meant to sweep away the old, with the North Node changing our collective stretch potential. So about the collective, about technology, about egalitarianism. Like, come on. Being a billionaire and now trillionaire is unethical. We need to bring back that egalitarian. I have some ideas about that financial part. Rebellion against authority or against, the people who hoard wealth, and decentralization. As we talk about like the things that happen in history during this time, that decentralization becomes such a huge focus of everything, even the financial parts, right?
Yeah. And we're layering here because nothing happens in a silo, right? There's other transits occurring at the same time. With Pluto and Aquarius, this has already been activated and kicked off, right? And I feel like it's no small coincidence that Pluto and Aquarius came in first to give us a taste of all of those topics you're talking about, right? Pluto is going to unearth. It is going to show the dark side so that we can bring in the light. And with the North Node added to this time, it's just going to accelerate, I believe. Yeah. And I would assume, but I haven't done the data point on this piece. Like, how often does the North Node in the same sign where Pluto happens to be? Because that's a generational shift. So I feel like the change makers that you talk about, and that you really do such a beautiful job of like helping people to set up what is their place in leadership. And as a change maker, I believe that this is a huge call to arms, like a huge call. And within this bigger 20-year cycle of Pluto and Aquarius, we need people to step up, step forward, step into their leadership so that Pluto can do its work with us. Yeah. We need those change makers. Like, and that to me is like, just, there's always so many, as we said, brilliance of the layering of what's happening in the astrological field that is really giving us as a collective these amazing opportunities to build the world that we choose and we want to, but we have to see both sides of it to be there.
100%. Later on in our kind of outline for today, I definitely want to talk about this age of Aquarius, because remember, so, the nodes change the nodes will repeat every 19 or so years also. And so every 19 or so years, and we'll have the nodes meeting Pluto again. And that's cool. But what's even more important with this, like kind of the meta cycles of this, was remember back in 2020 when Saturn and Jupiter met at Aquarius of 0 degrees, setting off an 800-year cycle.
Yes.
And so we're sitting on it took 6 years for this acceleration. It's like this fuel that the North Node of Aquarius is sitting in, which is sitting in the Pluto and Aquarius, 20-year cycle, which is sitting in this 800-year cycle.
800-year cycle. I know, it's crazy.
It's, I just love it. And so, even though the precession of the equinoxes hasn't reached Aquarius yet, I do believe we are in the age of Aquarius.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. 100% agree.
Well, thank you so much, Sheri, for joining me today. How can my listeners connect with you and find you?
I think the best place to connect with me, where I am a little mini community of sorts, would be on Substack. So it's just Sheri Moise on Substack, but the publication is Data Over Drama. So that's where I share, relevant articles and posts of what's going on. And if you're an entrepreneur who wants like guidance through these cycles, then the paid tier will allow for that as well.
Wonderful. I'll have all of those links in the description. So definitely follow Sheri. Sheri has just so much insight, especially when you're planning your launches and timing. She's your go-to person. So thank you for joining me and sharing your wisdom with the lunar nodes moving into Aquarius and Leo. I learned so much from you as usual, Sheri.
Thank you for having me, and I'm so excited for everyone. I got a little preview of your book, and I'm excited for everyone, and I'm excited to read the whole thing, and I'm looking forward to it being out in the world and supporting all these amazing humans that are our leaders and change makers in this new era.
Wonderful. All right, everyone. We will see you in just a bit. Bye for now. So thank you again. If this podcast has touched your heart, please share it with others. Please leave me a rating and review so we can reach the hearts of even more change makers like you.